So we have completed the under the alcohols, ethyl alcohol. Next we have the beverages. So the beverage we have here in our syllabus is the beer. And let us see what this topic teaches us. Here we do understand the production of beer, to learn the process involved in the beer production, to know the cost of the commercial production of the beer. So beer is the one of the beverages, and you can see the raw material in the bottles. Now beer is an undistilled product of a grain mash fermentation is brought about by a yeast. Beer fermentation involves the conversion of starchy raw materials into sugars and then into alcohol. It is generally prepared from malted barley, but other starch grains also. Example, maize, rice are also used as raw materials. And the yeast which is used here is the Saccharomyces cerevisiae or Saccharomyces carcibergiensis. These are used in the fermentation process. Now, production of alcohol beverages. Fermentation of a fruit juice results in wine. Most wine is made from grapes. Beer and ale is produced by the fermentation of a malted grains. And you see the distilled beverages are produced by concentrating alcohol by distillation. Let us see the commercial production of a beer. So 5 major steps are involved in the manufacture of a beer. So they are, the first one is the malting. Here the starchy grains are first malted. The malted is prepared by first soaking the grains into water and then allowing it to germinate at 17 degrees centigrade. During germination, large amount of amylases, an enzyme, are produced which are subsequently involved in hydrolyzing the starch into fermentable sugars. So, after the germination is completed, these grains are dried at 65 degrees centigrade. So, the first process in the production of beer is the malting. And the next one is the mashing. After malting, the pure barley malt is invariably mixed with other grains such as corn, rye, sorghum, wheat, etc. Mashing brings about partial hydrolysis resulting in the digestion of starch and protein. The partially hydrolyzed solution of mash is filtered and the filtrate is called as the beer wort. This beer wort serves as a rich nutrient medium for the microorganisms. And beer wort it is now boiled with hops, which are the papery scales of the female flowers of the hop vine or Humulus lupulus. The hops are added for flavor, aroma and mild antimicrobial activity to prevent the growth of the spoilage bacteria. These hops is an aromatic plant. This is the aromatic plant smells that gives beer its flavor and bitterness. It contributes to the formation of a good froth and protects the beer against the contamination by microorganisms. Today, extracts of this plant are used industrially and these are obtained in such a way as to preserve its quantities. Hop varieties are classified in terms of bitterness and flavor, which vary according to the amount of resin and essential oils they contain. And the third step is in the production of beer is the fermenting. So the beer wort is now inoculated with a pure culture of Saccharomyces cerevisiae or Saccharomyces carcibergiensis, and it is allowed to ferment at low temperature, that is the 5 degrees centigrade to the 14 degrees centigrade for longer periods, that is the 5 to 10 days. And here the first phase in the process of beer production is the preparation of the wort. As I told you, beer wort, this process has 4 stages. And next 4th stage is the maturation. The phase after fermentation is the period in which the beer is allowed to rest at suitable temperatures in order for the undesirable violet components which might affect the final product of the beer to be released. So the next operation is the stabilization. This consists of letting the beer stabilize at temperatures of between 0 degrees centigrade to 2 degrees centigrade to permit colloidal stabilization. So next is the clarification, is the operation that gives the beer its clear limpid quality, eliminating the last remaining traces of clouding still in suspension. This consists of pumping the liquid through a suitable filter. The filter beer, as you see here, the filter beer is then stored in tanks and they are ready to be bottled. So next is finally is the finishing. Finishing is nothing. So this is the final stage of the beer production process, is transferring the beer into different kinds of containers. It can be bottles, it can be barrels, or it can be the cans. So before or after bottling, the beer needs to be biologically stabilized. This operation may be carried out in the cold sterilizing filtration or hot using pasteurization technique, which may be done either immediately before flash pasteurization or after the drink is introduced into its container tunnel pasteurization. So in the finishing here, so the bottle or the can beer is usually pasteurized at 60 degrees centigrade for about 20 minutes to prevent any microbial spoilage. So at the bottling stage, the beer is inserted in different forms to enable it to be appreciated for the moderation. So you see here is the beer brewing process. So barley is first moistened and it is germinated, producing enzymes that convert starch into sugars, that is amylases. Barley is then dried to halt germination and crushed to produce malt. The second step is the mashing. So mashing malt adjacent with warm water and allowing enzymatic activity to generate more sugars, solids are removed to produce wort, that is a beer wort. So here we are adding the addition of hops so this hops is for flavoring or for bitterness. So cooking a wort halts enzymatic activity, extracts flavor from hops and kills the microorganisms which are present. So that is the reason we do the addition of the hops. And this remove hops, addition of yeast culture. After that we remove that, after flavor we got and killing the microorganism, we add the yeast culture, that is the Saccharomyces cerevisiae. And now this wort ferments into beer after addition of the yeast. Now what happens here? Aging, that is the filtering or pasteurization, and bottling finish the process. So final process is we are bottling the beer. So hope you understood the production of the beer. It's very interesting and it has a 5 steps commercially production, that is the malting, mashing, fermenting, maturing and finishing. You get the barley from the shops, you try preparing it and you know the thrill of preparing and preserving it. The longer it is preserved, the more tastier it will be the alcoholic products.